As a single dad, my triplets set me up on a joke date. Then she, a widow, changed everything. I never believed in second chances at love, not after losing Sarah to cancer when our triplets were just 4 years old. For 8 years, I'd been both mom and dad to Emma, Ethan, and Ellie, navigating the chaos of single parenthood while nursing a heart that never quite healed. But sometimes, life's greatest gifts arrive disguised as practical jokes, orchestrated by 3 12-year-old matchmakers who knew what I needed before I did. If you've ever felt that life has closed a door on love or happiness, this story might just give you hope. Before we dive in, take a second to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more stories that remind us how unexpectedly beautiful life can be, even after our darkest moments. "Dad, you need to get ready. She'll be here in an hour." Emma's voice echoed through our modest suburban home as I stood in the kitchen, still wearing my weekend attire of worn jeans and a faded t-shirt, completely confused about what was happening. "Who's coming?" I asked, looking up from the pile of bills I'd been sorting through. The triplets exchanged those conspiratorial glances I'd grown to fear over the years. As identical as they looked to strangers, their personalities couldn't be more different. Emma, our practical leader, Ethan, our thoughtful dreamer, and Ellie, our mischievous spark, together they were a force of nature. "Your date," Ellie announced with a triumphant grin, bouncing on her toes. "My what?" The word felt foreign on my tongue. Date. I hadn't been on one since before Sarah got sick. Ethan stepped forward, his expression serious as always. "We made you a profile on that dating app everyone uses." "You did what?" I nearly choked. "Don't freak out, Dad," Emma said, ever the mediator. "We used your good pictures, the ones where you don't look so tired." I ran my hands through my hair, which probably needed a cut. "This isn't funny, guys. You can't just—" "Her name's Rebecca," Ellie interrupted with a triumphant grin, bouncing on her toes. "She's a kindergarten teacher and she's coming at 7 for dinner." My mouth fell open. "You invited a complete stranger to our house?" "She's not a stranger," Ethan corrected. "We've been messaging her for 2 weeks." Pretending to be me? The horror of the situation was sinking in. That's catfishing. That's illegal, or at least really unethical. Emma rolled her eyes in that preteen way that made me feel simultaneously ancient and incompetent. "We didn't pretend to be you exactly. We were very clear that we were your kids setting up your profile. She thought it was sweet." "Sweet?" I echoed weakly. "There is nothing sweet about this. You need to call her right now and cancel." "Can't," Ellie said, looking not the least bit apologetic. "We deleted the app after confirming dinner, but don't worry, she knows it's just a casual dinner with you and us." I stared at my children, these 3 small humans I'd raised alone, suddenly feeling like I didn't know them at all. Why would you do this? The playfulness faded from their faces, replaced with something that made my heart ache. It was Ethan who spoke, his voice quiet. "Because you're lonely, Dad." "I'm not," I started to protest, but Emma cut me off. "Yes, you are. You work and take care of us and never do anything for yourself. You haven't smiled, really smiled, in forever." "And," Ellie added, her usual mischief subdued, "we found Mom's letter." My heart stopped. What letter? The 3 exchanged glances again before Ethan disappeared upstairs, returning moments later with a pale blue envelope I recognized immediately, Sarah's handwriting. I'd hidden it in my dresser drawer years ago, unable to bring myself to read her final words to me after she was gone. "You didn't mean to snoop," Emma said softly. "We were looking for the Christmas decorations last month and found it." I took the envelope with trembling hands. "You read it?" They nodded in unison. "Mom wanted you to be happy again," Ellie said. "She made us promise to make sure you didn't spend your life alone." I sank into a kitchen chair, the weight of their words, of Sarah's unread words, pressing on my chest. "I can't just replace your mother." "That's not what she wanted," Emma said, sounding so much like Sarah it hurt. "She wanted you to find room in your heart for someone else too. She said love doesn't divide, it multiplies." Tears burned behind my eyes as I looked at these 3 miracles we'd created together. "I need to read this," I said finally, holding up the letter. "There's no time," Ellie said, checking the Mickey Mouse watch she had refused to part with since she was 6. "Rebecca will be here in 53 minutes and you need a shower." I stood under the hot spray, letting the water wash away the shock and, if I'm honest, the fear. 8 years of being solely focused on raising the kids, on survival, on making sure Sarah's absence didn't destroy them. I'd never allowed myself to consider moving forward romantically. It felt like betrayal. As I dressed in the one decent button-down shirt I owned, I finally opened Sarah's letter. Her handwriting, once so familiar, now seemed like a relic from another life. My dearest Jack, if you're reading this, I'm gone, and I'm so sorry for that. I'm sorry for all the moments we won't share, for missing our babies growing up, for leaving you to carry this burden alone. But knowing you, you've been carrying it beautifully because that's who you are, the strongest, kindest man I've ever known. I need you to promise me something. Don't make my death the end of your story too. The kids will need you to show them that life goes on, that love continues, that happiness can be found again even after terrible loss. And you, my love, deserve that happiness too. I'm not asking you to forget me. I'm asking you to honor what we had by being brave enough to open your heart again someday. Find someone who makes you laugh, who challenges you, who loves our children, someone who understands that your love for me doesn't diminish your capacity to love again. Love doesn't divide, it multiplies. There's room in your enormous heart for another chapter. All my love, always, Sarah. I folded the letter carefully, my vision blurred with tears. 8 years I avoided reading these words, afraid they would break me all over again. Instead, they felt like permission I hadn't realized I was waiting for. The doorbell rang, jolting me back to the present crisis. I quickly wiped my eyes and headed downstairs where the triplets were already opening the door. And there she was, Rebecca, tall with warm brown eyes and a hesitant smile, holding a bouquet of daisies and looking as nervous as I felt. "You must be Jack," she said, her voice soft but steady. "Your children have told me so much about you." "All good things, I hope," I managed, shooting a warning glance at the triplets who were watching this exchange with undisguised interest. "Mostly," she replied with a small laugh, "though they may have exaggerated your cooking skills." "Oh, they definitely did," I admitted, feeling a strange lightness. "I hope you like slightly burned lasagna." Her smile widened. "It's my favorite kind." Dinner was a disaster, of course. The lasagna was indeed burned on the edges and still frozen in the middle. The salad was wilted because I'd forgotten to put it in the refrigerator after buying it that morning. The garlic bread was charred beyond recognition. But Rebecca laughed, a genuine, warm laugh that seemed to brighten our dining room, and pulled a box of cookies from her purse. "I had a feeling we might need a backup plan," she said with a wink to the kids. As we ate store-bought cookies for dinner, the triplets dominated the conversation, telling Rebecca embarrassing stories about me that had me alternating between mortification and surprised laughter. I learned that Rebecca had moved to our town just 6 months ago for a fresh start after losing her husband in a car accident 3 years earlier. "I have a daughter," she said, showing a picture on her phone of a smiling girl with her mother's eyes. "Lily is 9. She's at her grandparents' tonight for their weekly sleepover." "We'd love to meet her," Ellie said immediately, and I nearly choked on my cookie at her presumption. But Rebecca just smiled. "I think she'd like that. She's been asking for siblings since she could talk." The evening flowed with surprising ease. After dinner, the triplets insisted we play their favorite board game, and Rebecca proved to be fiercely competitive, talking in a way that had all of us in stitches. By the time she was preparing to leave, something had shifted in our house, as if a window had been opened in a room that had been closed for too long, letting in fresh air. At the door, away from the kids' prying eyes, Rebecca turned to me. "I should confess something," she said. "I knew this was a setup by your kids from the beginning." "I'm so sorry about that," I started, but she shook her head. "Don't be. It was the sweetest thing anyone's done for me in a long time." She hesitated. "My daughter actually helped me pick out what to wear tonight. She's been worried about me being alone, too." I felt a smile tugging at my lips. "Sounds like we've both been ambushed by well-meaning children." "The best kind of ambush," she agreed. Then more seriously, "I know what it's like, Jack, to lose the person you thought you'd grow old with, to try to be everything for your child while feeling like you're barely holding it together." "Does it get easier?" I asked, the question I'd been asking myself for 8 years. "Not easier," she said thoughtfully. "Different. The grief changes shape. It makes room for other things." She glanced back towards the living room where the triplets were pretending not to eavesdrop. "They're amazing, by the way. You've done an amazing job." "They're pretty special," I agreed, "even when they're meddling in my personal life." Rebecca laughed again, and I realized I wanted to hear that sound more. Would you like to have dinner again sometime? I asked, surprising myself with my boldness. Maybe with all the kids, and possibly takeout instead of my cooking. Her smile was answer enough. That first dinner led to a second, this time with Lily joining us. She and the triplets hit it off immediately, bonding over their shared experience of having a sad parent, as Lily dubbed it. While the kids played video games, Rebecca and I talked for hours, discovering all the things our children hadn't covered in their matchmaking efforts. We moved slowly, both of us carrying the weight of our past loves, both of us parents first. Our third date was a picnic in the park with all the kids. Our fourth was a school fundraiser we both had to attend anyway. By the fifth, we'd established a comfortable rhythm, our two broken families gradually intertwining. It wasn't always smooth. The first time I kissed Rebecca goodnight, I was overwhelmed with guilt afterward, lying awake all